What is going on, everybody? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Fantasy on NBA DFS Playbook Preview Show. We are here previewing Thursday's 7-game main slate. James, my guy, how you doing today?
Doing well. Interesting 7-gamer. How many teams on a back-to-back here?
I think it's two. Two.
Three.
Three?
Utah, Brooklyn, and the Miami Heat.
There you go.
Three teams on a back-to-back.
7 teams are on the front leg of a back-to-back. Let's check that.
Yeah,
out.
there's definitely. I mean, knowing Friday slates are usually bigger, so
yeah, Friday's a pretty big slate here. Let's see. Thursday, Friday this week. It's just Boston, actually. Boston's got Cleveland, Orlando.
Not the best back-to-back there for Boston. Could not be slower, actually. Could not be the worst paced environment.
They did just handle Cleveland in Boston the other day. So.
They did. We had a classic. Boston has 5 really good players, better than everyone else's 5 players. One of those games. But yeah, I mean, lots of star power. Luka, Jokic, SGA, Fox, Curry, Sabonis, not Draymond, because, we all saw what happened with Draymond once again. But it should be an interesting slate. We could be getting a return of Anthony Edwards. Paul George left the other day. He's questionable.
Yep.
Jaylen Brown has a sprained left ankle. He is also listed questionable. So there's some interesting names on the injury report today. A lot of guys already ruled out, but a lot of guys that we've already seen ruled out. We'll have to see what happened with Utah. The Keontae George left and didn't return on Wednesday's slate. So
and they already had started Colin Sexton in that game. So.
Yep. Yeah. So we're going to get Chris Dunn, Colin Sexton backcourt. I mean, I'm assuming
EHT maybe back in the starting lineup.
We'll see. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot that could happen. They haven't really adjusted prices there. So remains to be seen if Lauri Markkanen plays a back-to-back as well after missing an extended period of time and only being a 20 to 25 minute limit. So very interesting slate overall. We do not have a 259 implied total. That's for sure. It's definitely not Chicago, Miami. 217, solid, really solid in that one. But yeah, no 258. Really interesting slate. OKC, Sacramento is the biggest number on the board. Golden State, LAC is not out upon the time of this recording.
Yeah, that one might get up to that 240 range. Thunder and Kings, which I feel like, again, maybe it's just because we see the Kings a lot. I feel like they've played. Apparently, they only played once this year.
That game's at 240. 242.
Yeah, 240. Yeah. I'm just saying, I feel like this is a matchup we've seen a couple times, and it's only been one time. But all the star players went off in that matchup, though. So maybe that's why I'm remembering it so vividly, even though it was only a 105-98 game. You got a 17, 13, and 13 triple-double out of Domantas Sabonis in that one.
Seems good.
De'Aaron Fox didn't play. That's why. Okay, so De'Aaron Fox didn't play in that game, but SGA went for 60 as well in that matchup. So should be a fun one. Like you said, we got 7 games here to talk about. Luka's on the slate. No Kyrie Irving. Gets Minnesota at 11-9. SGA, as we talked about, 10-5. De'Aaron Fox at $9,600. Steph Curry, 94. Your top 4 price point guards here.
Yeah, I feel like Luka's kind of matchup proof. Now, the 17
He's going to play every minute of every game. I mean, like, it's just...
Yeah, the minutes are tremendous. The only thing I'll say is, and maybe I shouldn't say it because he's had 2 17-assist games over his last 5, is it's really hard to see the Mavs replicating their shooting from the other night. Like, you look up and down that lineup, Grant Williams didn't miss, Tim Hardaway didn't miss, Dante Exum didn't miss. Yes, Tim Hardaway, Grant Williams, and Dante Exum were the 3 guys that I just gave shouts to that didn't miss. Like, I'm not saying he couldn't have a double-double, triple-double with assists, but 17 seems kind of crazy considering it's Minnesota. But he's going to play all the minutes. He's going to take all the shots, and obviously he can stuff the stat sheet. So if you want to get to Luka, by all means, I just think, for $1,400 less, you can just play Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who obviously hasn't had as consistent a ceiling as Luka, but, they went for 51 again in 28 minutes. It's just, he's the rare breed of fantasy asset that we don't need. It does not matter if he makes threes because he is so good defensively. He has 3+ steals in 4 straight. games. He's so good peripherally everywhere, and has the equalizer that he can go out and get you 45 actual if you need him.
Yep.
So I feel like the savings going from Luka to SGA makes more sense on this slate than it has in the past because Luka also has that Minnesota.
Agreed. 100% with you there. Again, Fox is below them if you want to flip it around. We know the ceiling that he can bring to the table. Does Draymond absence impact Curry at all for you here?
I mean,
like, do we see Paul back in the starting lineup? I mean, when Draymond was out earlier this year, that's kind of the rotation that they went with.
I think we see the lineup that they decided to go with yesterday or on Tuesday, and that was Brandon Podziemski and it was Jonathan Kuminga. And I think we see a drastic shift in the way that the Warriors start looking at their lineups because we already had heard the whole thing about Andrew Wiggins, and he was terrible again. I think the starting lineup is Curry, Podziemski, Thompson, Kuminga, Looney, maybe Saric over Looney. We'll see because Looney got benched in that second half and never played. So we'll see what they decide to do. If Chris Paul was one of the only people off the bench that had a role. So he was really good in that game. He could enter the starting lineup. We'll see. Curry was pretty bad shooting and still ended up with 44 fantasy points. We've talked about it kind of all year where with Chris Paul or Draymond off the floor, there's more peripheral stats for everyone. Obviously 9,400 is a good price. So if you land on Steph Curry with no Draymond, I'm trying to get us definitive numbers here on a per minute basis. 1.36 fantasy points per minute without Draymond. That's up from 1.33. So literally 0.03 of an increase is not. Still, 1.36 is really good. Just that the Draymond out thing doesn't move.
Agreed. Moving our way down the list into this mid-tier range here, we'll see if Malcolm Brogdon is in or out. He's currently listed as questionable there. Harden, Garland, Anfernee Simons at $7,800. Kobe White continues to play out of his mind here. Any favorites in the mid-tier?
It's hard not to like Harden if Paul George doesn't play. Paul George listed questionable, so definitely interested in some Harden. That game was an absolute rout the other night, so we didn't even get to see full allotment of minutes for Harden. Garland's coming off a really, really couple strong games. We're finally getting ceiling performances out of Garland, 40 plus in 4 of his last 5. And the only reason he didn't get 5 is because he played 26 minutes in that Heat game. Still 37 fantasy points. So we're getting the best version of Garland right now. And then Simons, it's just impossible to ignore what this dude is doing. He took another 23 shots. He played another 38 minutes. He made 5 threes. He made all 13 of his free throws, 38 actually.
And it's Utah.
Dude, he is. I don't know. We knew he is a bucket. Yeah. He is one of those dudes that can string together buckets. Not many people in the league. He can give you 24 and a quarter in the blink of an eye, and nobody's you're wow, he's good. It's just what is the version we're gonna? He's always gonna shoot. What is it? Is it 38-point upside with Brogdon with Ayton back potentially? I guess that's the question you got to ask yourself. Is Anfernee Simons going to keep doing this if Ayton and Brogdon?
So Ayton, I'm not really too concerned about. Brogdon would certainly be the one that I'd have to see because Brogdon is another kind of ball dominant guard that takes shots. For my own selfish being, I hope Brogdon sits out. I want to see Anfernee Simons here against Utah. I want to get 38 minutes and 20 plus shots of Anfernee Simons here in an amazing, it's going to be an amazing matchup. So for him, so I hope Brogdon's out. I want to see Anfernee Simons here at $7,800. Kobe White again, 75 goes through another 47 fantasy points for him. This time on the second leg of a back-to-back against Denver. You can't say anything more about the kid. He is just out here playing the best basketball of his life.
Yeah, I got him. No denying that for sure. And then he was a lottery pick for a reason, right? Way like a few years ago, and um, he also debunked like that was a really slow pace environment, and he still gave you 47 fantasy points. That's what this Miami matchup's going to be, really slow. Um, so if you want to get to Kobe White, no Zach LaVine, by all means do it.
Yeah, for sure. Moving our way down this list here. Derek White, $6,800. He was the cover of the show the other day. 36 fantasy points for him. 17, 4, 4, 2, and 1. Now add in the fact that there may not be any Jaylen Brown in this game, and it just kind of elevates Derek White from here. A slight bump in price tag. Obviously, the closer he gets to 7K, the less like appealing he becomes, but we know what he certainly can bring to the table. He didn't have any points in his first stint. He got subbed back in the second quarter and knocked down 3 straight threes and like 3 straight possessions. So we know what he can be. 5 of 8 from the 4 from 3. And like I said, if there's no Jaylen Brown, it only elevates what could be the day for Derek White here.
Yeah, I mean, we're same thing. White and Holiday both in play, especially if Brown's out. I would also play Jamal Murray, 7,300. He's listed probable to return. He was super amazing in that Atlanta game. Got ejected in the Houston game, and seems like the minutes are pretty steady again, like 30, low 30s. Brooklyn is a pace-up spot for Denver, and Brooklyn's 19th in defense on the second leg of a back-to-back, traveling to Denver.
Right.
We talk about that. Like Jamal Murray is going to
Just
run these guys out of the gym if they have to chase him around the gym for 30 something minutes. So I could definitely see myself getting to Murray and tournaments.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. Again, we talked Holiday in White.
Look at the Exum price. Look at the Exum price.
Yeah, I know, 6,600, but it's worth it, right? I mean, look what he's doing.
It's crazy.
What is there to say?
I'm saying it. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know what it's
26,
crazy.
16, 23, 41, 35, 42. This is his role. These are his minutes. This is what we're going to get out of him. There's no reason not to trust it. I like that he's point guard, small forward. Gives us the extra flexibility where we can slot him in on this slate here.
True.
Malik Monk played only just 22 minutes in that game. Again, it was a blowout. Down game for him, but I'm sure you could go back to that well if you think this one's going to be a bit more competitive. We'll have to see what happens with Miami. Obviously, Josh Richardson was out. Kyle Lowry and crew played a bunch of minutes in that game against Charlotte. We'll see how they come out on the second leg of a back-to-back. Sexton as well, the second leg of a back-to-back here. But no Keontae George potentially now, no Jordan Clarkson, a big role for him. And then you mentioned it, Podziemski could be starting. And if he's starting, I mean, dude went 20 and 11 in that game. So, I was sitting here, being like, I can't believe Draymond's not getting any rebounds. And then the reason he wasn't getting rebounds when he was on the floor is because Podziemski was grabbing them all. I like the kid a lot.
Yeah, I mean, even if he doesn't start, there's Steve Kerr cannot deny these kids the time on the floor anymore. There's just no way with how bad Clay has been, with how bad Wiggins has been,
Right.
with how much of a zero Kevon Looney's been. Looney's a zero for them. So whether he starts or not, he is firmly in play. I will give a shout also, Scoot Henderson coming off his career best game. 19, 6, 4, and 2 blocks in 30 minutes. If there's no Malcolm Brogdon, like 16 and 17 shots over the last 2 games, finally some efficient scoring. And why would it be unlikely that he can't be efficient again against Utah?
Sure.
Like you just mentioned, like you said it a couple times, like Utah is a bad defensive team. They're also a very fast paced team. So if there's no Malcolm Brogdon, I'm perfectly fine landing on Scoot for 50.
Where are you with Terrence Mann here? If there already plays the minutes, but is there any extra with George out for you?
Not a 52. That's much too much of a price tag.
Okay. Cats are knocking over speakers, man. You can never trust these animals when they're walking around.
4,300 Chris Dunn. If he were to start, if there was no Keontae George, We've seen Chris Dunn start a couple times, like randomly
Right
this year.
now, with Keanu George being out, last checked, Agbaji had the most minutes off the bench for them. They were giving Dunn some run. Let's see, we're at halftime right now of this game. George played just 4 minutes. Agbaji played 16 minutes in that first half. So
Just using Sexton as the point guard.
Sexton as a point guard, right? Dunn got 8 minutes. THT got 8 minutes. Kessler got 7. Yurt 7 got 5. Hendricks got 9 because they're playing 12 guys.
Utah back-to-back rotations are just so fun.
Yep.
So fun. And I can't wait for Markin to be ruled out on a back-to-back. And then we just have we're playing Sensabaugh and Micah Potter. Like they're gonna play like all 14 guys. Can't wait. So
should be interesting to say the least there. Shooting guard position here. Donovan Mitchell, $9,100 against Boston, went for 44 in that game. Again, 9K-ish range for Donovan Mitchell's fine. Clearly, he and Garland didn't have too much of an issue, even though in a game where Boston never really had any trouble with Cleveland there. Those two guys kind of held their own. Under 9K, slightly for Anthony Edwards. We'll see on his status. If Paul George plays, has he been ruled out yet? He's just questionable. So
he's questionable. He was ruled out of that the rest of the sack game. He didn't come out for the second half. But they were also up like 25 at half.
Let's see. Shaden Sharp's at 8K. We know the minutes are there for him. I mean, 5. I mean, we talk about Anfernee Simons. I mean,
dude, I know. He's
been better.
Yeah, he's been super good. I mean, he's just doing everything. Look at the stats line. The stat lines are crazy for him.
I mean, super quick to 8K. But I mean, 52, 42, 42, 46, 42 with Anfernee Simons playing 40 minutes and taking 20 plus shots a night too. I mean,
he's paid off in 5 straight.
God damn, Shaden Sharp out here just balling. Again, I hope some of these guys don't come back for Portland because I want to play the Utah guy, the Portland guys that are doing well.
John, can I say that? Can I say this? The Portland fun meter?
Yeah. It's up there.
Right here. It's on the rise. It's on the rise right now.
It's true. It is definitely on the rise. Caleb Martin, 69 on the back-to-back. Max Strus, Clay, Duncan Robinson on a back-to-back. Had a pretty good night against Charlotte again. Big pace down spot for Miami. Or I guess technically they might be around the same pace, right? Chicago and Miami at this point. So
Chicago is last, and Miami is 25th.
Yeah, okay.
So they're both
pace down. Somehow a pace down spot for Miami. Let's see. Norm started the second half of that game. Didn't do a ton. Again, blowout. But the minutes were good. If Norm starts out for Paul George being out, I would have interest at 57.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just like the price is just not.
Well, the price is fine for a starter. I mean, if he's going to play 30 plus minutes.
It's very reflected without Paul George.
They're just protecting themselves. If they priced him at $4,800 and Paul George gets ruled out, he'd be 80% rostered on a 7-game slate. So it's just again, I give DraftKings credit on back-to-backs. They're pricing guys up. When guys are injured, they're pricing up the backups. They're paying a little bit more of attention to detail on their pricing this year. For some guys, there was that weird time we had Daniel Gafford at 4K.
4,400 just like randomly,
just for no reason.
That was the most insane look back on a situation.
The guy meant to hit a 5 and accidentally hit a 4, and he's like, "Well, it's already
for sure."
So what are we gonna do? Anybody else here for shooting guard? Mastas Modi.
Mastas Modi. He's interesting. I mean, if they don't start Clay or they don't start Wiggins, like. They literally could be a change of the guard.
Has Strother shot himself into a rotation spot?
Well, KCP's out.
Right.
So, do we see Strother start? Do they go?
That's what I'm asking you. I mean, even if he doesn't start, he's got to be at least in the 20-plus minute range now, right? They start Christian Braun. They probably start Christian Braun and then bring Strother off the bench, maybe?
That would be my guess, too. They could also, obviously, also randomly decide I want to start Justin Holiday as well because Justin Holiday still exists in the world. I know. I'm just saying.
I know.
But
this gets fun. People played him the other day, and obviously he is.
I mean, they got that was. I will say this. I was very upset about that because I message you like,
yeah, there's no reason to reject Nikola Jokic for what that happened
dude.
there. So.
He was 50. He was almost 50% owned, and he was gonna play 15 minutes maybe in that game. Jokic gets ejected. KCP is now concussed, and Julian Schroeder plays like the whole second half. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just it was not a great play. Like you and I talked about it, like especially after seeing the ownership, we were like,
Yeah.
ooh, that's kind
At
of
35, and we even said, like, if I'm making a couple lineups, maybe he'd be in it, but if I'm making one, I'm not going to risk him, because we're like, his floor is 4 minutes, right?
4 minutes.
And what are the odds he goes for 20? And then, like you said, he wasn't going to play a lot of minutes unless
Nope.
the perfect storm sort of created itself.
Perfect
And
storm.
sure enough, he's out there. But listen, this kid, we said it.
He is.
We
He is
said
very
it from
good.
the preseason. We said it earlier this season when there was a chance that he might have been able to crack a lineup when they had all those guys out. This kid can shoot the basketball.
He sure can.
Like, these are fun. Listen, you and I are big hoop heads. We love these players. These guys who just come in the league, just firing right away. There was a point in time where the NBA draft, if you didn't take a guy like anybody after pick 10 was basically useless, right? Like none of them knew how to play. None of them could shoot. Like you never heard of half these guys. And now we're getting drafts where like they go 15, 20 picks deep with guys that can actually come into the league shooting, and they're like ready to go. So, Schroeder is definitely kind of in that range here. Anybody else for you? Sam Hauser came in, knocked down 3 threes, gave you 15 fantasy points against Cleveland. We need more, but I mean, he got the minutes. He took some shots. Maybe no Jaylen Brown. He could start in this game.
That was going to be my question. He probably starts when we've seen.
They either go double big with Horford, which we've seen as well, or they bring
Mobley already
Hauser.
Out. And Mobley's already out, so I wonder what they would do. You don't need to zig when everyone zags, or you don't need to zig with the zig. Mm-hmm. Like they could just go double big and force Cleveland's hand, as opposed to like, well, the Cleveland's starting Dean Wade. Right. Why would they start Al Horford? Like that's not how that works. So yeah, Horford seems likely, but either way, that gives Hauser the 25-minute ceiling. So
now he has been terrible when starting this year.
Terrible.
Absolutely abysmal. He is not. He has been the epitome of a bad chalk play when he's been in the starting lineup. 37 minutes against Charlotte, 1 for 9 shooting. 35 minutes against Philly, 3 for 9, 2 for 8 from the floor. Maybe he gets the yips when he's in the starting lineup. I don't know, but if he is starting, I'm going to give him some consideration at $4,300 here.
Agreed.
Small forward. Where are we? JT, we talked about it the other day. Has a ceiling. Went for 49, 25, 10, 5. Now no JB. Again, just the ceiling raises for him when he's under now $9,700.
Yeah, I mean, we did that with 7 of 19 shooting. Like, he's much better than that. So, if Brown sits, it's really hard not to prioritize Tatum in a way. Like, I still probably rank him behind SGA, but he's right up there with, like, Luka and Jokic on the next tier for me if there's no Brown.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, again, we've seen him go and have like 70 fantasy point games before. So like it's not out of the realm of possibility here for Tatum if there's no Jaylen Brown to go out there and just kind of give himself a ceiling game. Butler's on a back-to-back. Maybe he doesn't play. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how they handle all that there. Bridges, Kawhi's up to 87. Obviously, that's a price bump, knowing that maybe no Paul George, because he went for 45 again. Another 30 actual point game for Kawhi Leonard. DeMar DeRozan had a little bit of a down game there against Denver. I would expect the bounce back against Miami here, a team he's hoping to maybe be traded to. What are your thoughts on the small forward position here?
Jimmy's fine. I just don't love that game environment overall. Mikal Bridges back-to-back in Denver, no thanks. Kawhi is a fantastic play, especially if Paul George. He'll be one of the small forward, power forward eligibility back. He'll be one of the most popular plays of the slate at $8,700. Mm-hmm. Dude, I remember like for how many years in a row have we talked about Kawhi Leonard? Like anytime he's like 9K. It's like 9K or under will play Kawhi. He's been under 9K all
Right.
year. And we've now gotten, you said, another 30-point game, 31, 34, 41 actual in 3 straight games. It's like, who does Golden State have to stop that? Who's going to guard that?
Right.
I mean, they don't have Draymond Green in this game. Like he is not there to like get and punch Kawhi and knock Kawhi out for the game.
Mhm.
So 8,700 for Kawhi stands out like a sore thumb for me. DeRozan is fine. Paul George 84, I would probably get to if he does play
Sure.
in this game as well. And then it's just like kind of
You were in on Jalen
who
Williams the other day. Didn't have like his greatest game, but this is a spot now you go up against Sacramento, maybe a better matchup for him.
yeah, unfortunately, I mean they won that game
He played 22
14
minutes, right?
points.
So I guess I say not his greatest game. 23 fantasy points in 22 minutes is fine. If he played 35, he would add the night you were kind of figuring he could give you.
Right. 36, yeah, 36, 37 fantasy points. I mean, dude, that game, 14-point game, it was the 30 the whole game. Utah just played their starters at the
Mhm.
end and like cut it to 14. I'm perfectly fine getting the J-Dub. He's been super good. He was, again, like you said, he was over a fantasy point per minute once again, well on his way to nearly 40 fantasy points, if not 40 fantasy points. He has kind of just been like the secondary scorer behind SGA for them lately. Him and Chet alternate who is that guy, but right now it's currently Jalen Williams. Chet was pretty good in that game as well. But yeah, Jalen Williams is super safe, about a fantasy point per minute guy at 6,700. Like the multi-position eligibility as well.
Well, again, we talked about the Miami guys. We'll see who's in or out for them. Jaquez obviously had a really big game there on Wednesday's slate. THJ, we'll have to see where he's at. Coming off of that nuclear game listed as probable here. Got to assume tough spot. Well, if you want to get to him or not. Patrick Williams,
Yeah.
someone that we've been kind of in and out on at times. The minutes have still been great. Miami's kind of a different matchup for him here. Going down to Kuminga at 54. I know you've talked a lot about him in recent slates, especially coming off of the 40 fantasy point game against OKC. Gets the bigger role. No Draymond here. Could very well start.
Yeah, I mean he started the second half like with Podzimski too, and we just saw him start the other day. Like it just has never made sense to me. All these draft picks, like I get it. Golden State's 2 years removed from a championship, but like you're just watching everyone diminish around you and you're not playing these young dudes that you have in the lottery. Like Jonathan Kuminga was a top 5 overall pick who is a very skilled offensive player and you just let him rot on the bench. I just don't understand. Look at every game that you extend him in this year. Every single game that he's been extended and he's been a quality fantasy producer. My full expectation is he starts. And at 5,400, I still think that's perfectly fine. He's been a 0.9 fantasy point per minute producer without Draymond. I think the best part about maybe Jonathan Kuminga this year is that he has a 25% usage rate. Like this guy comes in and does what he does.
Mhm.
He goes to the rim, he looks to attack, he scores, he has the ball a lot. Like he's just a skilled offensive player that is with the ball a lot in this offense. So only I mean, looking at this number, only Steph Curry has a higher usage rate than Jonathan Kuminga this year on the Warriors. Like, sign
Yeah,
me up for that, $5,400.
great
So
price.
if he's starting, even if he's not, I'm gonna have a lot of interest in Kuminga because um, he's just he's just a very good basketball player that's just been greatly disrespected by the
Oh,
organization that he was
the
drafted in
Warriors
the
are
lottery.
always a competing team for like the end of season, playoffs. So Kerr likes to play the veterans, and sometimes they don't give these young guys the run or do that they deserve here. So now they're forcing their way in because of poor play of the veterans, and we'll see what comes out of it here. Again, you have Georges Niang up to $4,700. Played 23 minutes, so probably nothing I'm looking at. Agbaji did start the second half for Keontae George, so he's the one that's going to seemingly get these minutes here. Low usage rate guy, nothing I'm looking to spend too much energy on. Any interest in like a Dort or Isaiah Joe here?
No,
Okay.
Dort would probably be the priority. Joe,
Okay.
I would go back to Fontecchio, who is having another good game on Wednesday. He's started even with Markkanen back.
Right.
Like they started him and they moved Markkanen to the 4. I guess we'll see what the case is with John Collins because John Collins was ruled out on Wednesday. Maybe we get Collins back on Thursday with Markkanen and they go like just triple big lineup again, and that would squeeze Fontecchio out. But if Fontecchio starts, given someone's out like Collins or Markkanen, I would go back to
Yeah,
that.
Fontecchio just coming out of half here. 12 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal in the first 21 minutes of the game. Only shooting 3 of 11, but 11 shots in 21 minutes is pretty nice. Knowing that he could play, another 30, maybe gets to 15 shots there. Yeah, totally fine. And then, of course, if anybody gets ruled out or in, we'll have some more idea on the value there. At power forward, a lot of guys we've discussed. We haven't talked about Towns yet. Here, he's $9,000 going up against Dallas and could get Anthony Edwards back. But should be a pretty good matchup for the Minnesota front court here.
Yeah, I'd get to Towns even if Edwards played. I think 9K. Towns getting some pressure relieved from probably all the stress that he'd face being the number 1 option. Fouled out in that New Orleans game too. Just overall bad game for Minnesota, but it is a tremendous matchup. We just saw Anthony Davis go for 40 against them. Dallas is a top 10 pace team, bottom 10 defense. So I know I keep saying that, but those are the matchups you really want to attack.
No, 100% the matchups that you really want to attack here. So we're totally cool in that. We talked Porzingis the other day when he was $7,500. Well, now he's $100 more expensive. They still don't have Evan Mobley. If maybe no Jaylen Brown, Porzingis is not. He's not a $7,600 player. He's definitely more of a high 8s, mid 8s play. So I'm happy to go right back to the Kristaps Porzingis well here.
Same. I have nothing to add because that's yeah.
I mean, he's all season long he's been in this price range, and he's largely giving you value, if not exceeded value. So yeah, I feel pretty confident with Dean Wade, in the front court that they throw out there. Eventually, Jared Allen has to come off the floor, so I'm happy to attack that spot. Anybody else at power forward? Again, though, the position because of the smaller slate feels like it kind of drops off a little bit.
I mean, 6K for Horford is okay if he starts. Sure. I don't hate it, don't love it. Keegan Murray has been pretty good in each of the last 2 games. If you just listen to like even the Kings writers and people saying like he looks confident shooting the basketball again. 17 and 24 actual, 33 and 34 DK points. That game is super fun. Best game total on the board. So I like 6K there. I don't mind getting to Dario Saric here, 55. Sure. I don't love 5,500 as the price like continues to rise, and he only played 20 minutes in that Phoenix game, but he also lost out run because of foul trouble. And I'm starting to think like they're just gonna say like screw it to a lot of what they've done. And
you also know who could get into foul trouble in this game is Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah, Jonathan Kuminga is going to be tasked with like a Kawhi Leonard matchup, and dude, Looney played 11 minutes. Like they don't, and they also can not afford to go small with Draymond at center. Right. So
I actually think Looney is kind of the biggest beneficiary potentially of no Draymond because they do need some sort of size presence out there.
But they lost Draymond. But they lost Draymond in last game, and he played 11 minutes. They didn't play Looney. They played Jackson Davis 6 minutes, and they played Sarge 20. They were going small with Kuminga. Like they were doing whatever they could to avoid playing Kevon Looney.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that plays. I guess we'll see what the starting lineup will end up looking like. Because if they get torched in the glass, like they're never going to win they're going to need Looney out there. And I don't really know why they're soured on Looney all of a sudden. After the years that he's kind of put on for them, he's been pretty good for extended run for them there. After we go down there a little bit though, looking at the center positions, any of the power forwards for you? I mean, Grant Williams, does he go back and knock down every shot he takes? Love is down here. Naz Reid is down here.
I guess the Kevin Love thing would be interesting if he sat on a back-to-back.
Sure.
Just we
know how the Let's see.
He was okay. He had a lot of rebounds.
20
off the
minutes.
bench.
Yep. 3, 9, 1, 2, 1. Missed all 6 of his 3-pointers, 1 of 9 shooting. Jamal Cain played 29 minutes. It's a big,
Yeah,
it's a
a
big number
nightmare.
for him there. 14, 3, 1, and 2. Jaime played 17, 6, 8 for him in 33 minutes there. Your boy Orlando Robinson got just 12 minutes of run there. So his time is seemingly coming to an end there.
Over.
All right, let's go to center. Joker, fresh off an ejection, probably upset. Back home. Feels like a Joker spot to me.
Price increase after 24 fantasy points. Like, here we go. Here's $100 increase after 16 minutes and 24 fantasy points. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Averaging 10 more fantasy points per game at home this season.
Yeah, he's been nuts at home. Yeah, if you want to get to, it's one of those things. You want to get to Jokic, Now, I will say, $9,300 for Domantas Sabonis feels pretty.
I mean, the price is certainly getting down there. It's not a terrible matchup either. He had the triple-double without Fox in that game. We know the rebounding's legit. It's just like, can he score enough? Can we get enough scoring out of Domantas Sabonis here? The cheaper he gets, the more easier it is the stomach. But I feel like he's someone that should be giving me 20 plus 10 plus a night, and we're not really getting that right now.
I mean, we definitely got it more earlier in the year. We definitely got it a few games ago against New Orleans, 26, 13, and 10. Like, if we got that line,
most of it during that run when I think Fox was out, no? So,
yeah, it was mostly when Fox was out. Which is, I'm not disagreeing. I'm also saying, if Domantas Sabonis gave me a 15-point triple-double at 9,300, he's going north of 50, like clearing 50 pretty easy.
Agreed. No arguments with me there. Talk towns. Vucevic went nuclear when he didn't have to deal with Joker in that game. Now he's going to deal with what? Love, Robinson, Kane. I mean, this feels like
Thomas Bryant.
Doesn't this just feel like another spot where Vucevic just smashes?
Yep, it does.
And you get him for a decrease. They dropped this price $100. This is where they must have gotten $100 for Joker, right? They took it off of Vucevic.
Yeah. Last time I checked, Zach LaVine was still out too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just monster numbers for him there. We touted Gobert, and he lets us down. 21 fantasy points against the Pelicans. 8, 8, and 2. 4 fouls there. I'd be willing to go back to the well though.
Yeah, it's good.
Derek Lively. I mean, yeah, it feels like a good spot for him here. Chet, $7,400 coming off 34 fantasy points. It feels like Chet's going to give you either fair value or exceed value most nights.
Yeah, and he has this, and then he has we have the 60,
random monster game in the OT Golden State game here.
Yeah, we have like a 60-point ceiling when he's spacing the floor that way. So yeah.
Let's see here. Ayton, I don't know. Claxton, Jared Allen, Walker Kessler. Any of these guys jumping off the board to you in this mid-range?
No, I think Allen would probably be the one guy I'd get to. Stays out of foul trouble relatively, 36 fantasy points, even on a night where he only has 5 rebounds. He's a better rebounder than that. So of the mid-tier, it's definitely Jared Allen for me. Naz Reid once again benefited from foul trouble, 24 minutes, 31 fantasy points. This is like Naz Reid every freaking game. But like you said, it is kind of mentioning, if Anthony Edwards comes back, does Naz Reid play 24 minutes? Like, when we've seen Edwards in the lineup, it's more like 18 to 22 minutes for Naz Reid. But so if you want to go there, you can.
They started Olynyk again.
Yeah. What is he doing in the starting?
I don't think there was much going on for him in this game tonight. Let's see. 21 minutes. He is 3 of 6 shooting. Classic Olynyk game. 7 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds in 21 minutes. So he's got on his way to probably triple doubling.
Yeah.
But low volume here for Kelly O.
Low volume, which is not.
Steals.
That's weird. It's weird to see. Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, Sexton's 8 of 12 and Markkanen 7 of 11. They're the ones scoring. Utah's winning this game, so that I didn't think I didn't expect that. We did talk about going into Utah not like the easiest of spots here, but they're not a great team. Barrett's not having a good night. Just 3 of 15 shooting, 0 for 7 from 3. Hartenstein just 14 minutes. They've played Sims more than Hartenstein tonight. Hart's played just 12 minutes. Quickly was active. He's actually 5 of 6. So, weird Knicks play here, but it's a tie game at the moment. So plenty of game and a half left to go here for that game. Anybody else here at center?
I was looking through the value here
again. If there's no Eaton,
I don't play do up Wraith, but he's been very consistently good. 4,500 feels very cheap. He closed that game against the Clippers too. Like they closed it with they used him over Jabari Walker. So yeah, I mean, if you want to play do up Wraith, fire it away.
Sure. All right, let's build a lineup here. Where are we starting things today?
I wish we could start with Giannis Antetokounmpo, but we can't.
Listen, I told you in that game he was going to go for 80. It's just he didn't matter. Paying up for Giannis and getting 80 fantasy points on the Wednesday slate didn't matter. You needed the the right Toronto and
New Orleans.
Yeah, stack. Torian Prince went for 37 by the way today. So Tari Eason dropped the 50 burger. Did you see that?
50 burger again.
25 and 14 for Tari Eason on Wednesday.
Second game in a row. Tari Eason's just out here doing
10xing. Tari Eason is 10xing everybody. So winning lineup was the Giannis Wemby combo. Still some time to play, so I can't say winning lineup. It's the current winning lineup here for the 100 grand. Played Gary Trent, Trey Murphy, Torian Prince, Najee Marshall, Giannis, Ingram, Eason, Wemby. So
interesting.
Good on that guy in his 150 lineups. Good on that guy. All right, let's go here. What are we plugging? Go back to Derek White.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. Where is he? Probably Podzinski as well. Kaminga and Podzinski.
Yeah. Play Golden State value.
Podzinski, Kuminga. Get some value here. We play the Joker. It's 51 a play. Do we have any other value guys on the slate?
You would rather play Joker than like SGA or Tatum or?
No, I'm fine playing him. I'm just seeing what we could get there. Okay. You like SGA over Tatum, or do you like Tatum over SGA?
The answer is SGA until we know the official status of Jaylen
Brown. 55 power forward here. Let's see. Do we have? What do we want to do at center? What was our center?
So it's a bad position. I definitely think we should probably play Colin Sexton. 57.
Yeah.
Right? Just given.
Sure.
I mean, there's no way Keontae George. There's just
no.
After being rolled out that fast on Tuesday, he's not going to play.
You like Fontecchio? We can get off SGA and go Simons here. I mean, fair and balance has kind of been ruling the roost a little bit. If we did Tatum, that's 42. Do you have a power forward center?
The Fontecchio thing is only we just don't know the statuses of like certain like Collins and Markkanen on a back-to-back. If both those guys play, I don't know what they do with Fontecchio. That's the only thing.
Okay.
Like they could play him, or they might not. Like that's TBD kind of thing. Center sucks.
Do we have? We don't. What if we did Sexton, Sharp? We have a $3,700 util anywhere?
I don't
think so. There's just not a lot. Let's see. Go Porzingis back at center.
Yeah, Porzingis at center feels better because you can play like Cleveland value at power forward, or you can play Duop Reith at center. But then again, we don't even know if they're.
I mean, this is the first look lineup, right? So, like, obviously the lineup we make here isn't the lineup that we're gonna, put our stake in the ground to. So that's why we do the live show at 5:00 Eastern time to get everybody ready for this slate here. Is he small forward? He's not. 5,500. Sure, let's go Dario. Let's get all the backup warriors in here. Derek White, Brandon Pozinski, Jonathan Kuminga. Yeah, none of them start. Keegan Murray, Klitschko, Porzingis, Colin Sexton, Darius Sark, Anfernee Simons. Again, we'll be back live at 5:00 Eastern time. Who's on the playbook? Are you on the playbook? James is on the playbook. He'll have that out for everybody. Let us know if you have any questions. We'll be in the Discord. Follow us on Twitter. Like the show. Leave a comment of your favorite play of the day. All that good stuff. And we'll catch you at 5. See you then.